Hey lovers, it's Lover Girl Leah, and I hope you're having a lovely day. It's National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month, and with it being that month, I'm going to share my own personal stories as well as living with depression and overcoming that depression as well. So stay tuned, and remember the universe sent you here for a reason, so you might as well stay to find out. National Suicide Prevention Month originated in 2003 for the awareness of suicide as it was rising in the 90s. It became a holiday in 2008 in September. The national day is actually the 10th of September. So for everybody that deals with suicide personally, I hope that you get the help that you need. Call this number, or you can also dial 988. You can text that number and you can call that number as well. Suicide is the 10th leading cause of deaths in the United States and is also the second leading cause of deaths from ages 10 to 24. Personally, I started dealing with depression, which led to me having suicide attempts when I was around the age of 10 or 11 myself. It all kind of routed from being bullied and then not even having the support system at home. And unfortunately, the kids at school didn't necessarily know that things at home were hard and they were doing nothing but making it harder for me. And that was really hard because when you have nowhere to go between school, you're telling people that it's hard for you and you're going home and you can't even open up to your parents about it. And that's one of the biggest issues in our generation right now is a lot of kids tell their parents that they're depressed or that how they're feeling suicide wise or just anything, and parents just feel like that's just not something that's possible because they're doing everything for you. But it takes more than just fulfilling your child on a, I would say, kind of physical level. Kids need to be fulfilled mentally, and that's what adults as well. My first attempt was actually when I was in 6th grade. Not to go into further detail, but it didn't fortunately go through, and I am fortunate for that. But in that moment, I really did want the world to kind of end just because I didn't have nowhere I felt like I could go to, no one to confide in. So leaving 6th grade, the bullying definitely never stopped during 6th grade, but when I was getting ready to go into 7th grade, I definitely did kind of become a follower just to fit in more. So people would kind of stop bullying me just because, like, if you fit in, you're popular. People necessarily, I don't know, you get it. But bullying didn't stop necessarily in 7th grade. I was still kind of a target just because I was one of those people who was more soft-spoken and just more of a peaceful person, not really just trying to do shit to get attention and stuff. Going to 8th grade, I 100% didn't let nobody bully me, though. I did keep my shell on, and I was able to kind of lay my depression and how I was feeling, not wanting to be here, like, dormant a little bit. But it did start to come back around when I was back in high school. Me dealing with suicide and depression kind of awoke back more around like the years of 2017 for me, 2018. It was just kind of harder because I was going through a lot of things at home. Not only that, I was at a school that I necessarily didn't want to be at, and just as far as like friendships, relationships, family, everything all around was pretty toxic and not necessarily doing anything positive for me in my life. So it was really hard for me to kind of just stay like happy. And then not only that, like, I was kind of more so in the house. My parents kind of were helicopter parents, so I wasn't necessarily able to go out and have fun or do anything like that. So I kind of more so stayed in the house and did the same thing every day, and that definitely put me in more of a depression and made me not really want to talk to anybody. And going into about 10th grade was my hardest year for sure. I was really trying to juggle my grades. I was in a very, very bad toxic relationship. My friends, I didn't really necessarily have anybody to open up to or tell about it. And, you know, unfortunately, I did start cutting myself. And with that, you know, my friend noticed and she kind of tried to be there for me, but just on that level, she still wasn't there, and I was still kind of alone. With self-harming myself, my mom eventually did find out, and she didn't like approach it the way that I expected her or wanted her to as a parent, but seeing how bad I was dealing with it, she did kind of take the step to realize what was going on and try to see what she can do individually. And with that, she ended up switching schools for me just because school itself definitely was one of those harder things things for me. I didn't feel like I fit in at school, as well as it was just hard. Like, I was going to a school that was hard for no reason, and I didn't see no benefit in it. So when I switched schools, things got a little bit more better, and I didn't feel so alone, because now I was going to a school that I had people that I actually knew, people I could talk to. But I still did kind of stay to myself, just because depression is one of those things that never necessarily leaves. Once you get it, it's kind of hard to, like, people be like, oh, well, no, it's a mindset thing. No, it's a lifestyle thing, and it's hard to get out of once you're in it. And it was something that I didn't necessarily know how to deal with properly. And so around like 2020 COVID years, graduation, everything that was happening with school, then trying to go to college and just feeling like that wasn't a place where I fit, but I had so many people that I had to make proud, and so many people I had to kind of prove that point to, that I put myself through college kind of, and it just wasn't doing that for me. And so I did end up dropping out, and that really made me feel like maybe I'm going to be a failure at life. And so I kind of really got depressed, and I ended up moving out of my parents' house by myself, and being an adult, trying to handle and just juggle everything was just like not manageable. And it was one of those things, like, I really just found myself every day kind of wondering if it was worth it to wake up and do the same routine that was kind of pointless to me, and feeling like I wasn't making a difference, feeling like it was never going to go away. I started realizing in about 2022 that I really was getting comfortable with being depressed, and it was kind of like a friend to me. It was just something that I could just be like, okay, the world is against me right now, so let me just go in my shell and just be comfortable in that, because that was kind of all I've been knowing. But it got to a point where I was just like, I'm not being productive. There's nothing benefiting me in this situation. I can't go nowhere. I'm losing weight. I kind of feel very bad about myself. And I just got kind of tired of having myself in that mindset. And it just made me feel like, what can I do to stop feeling this way? I still currently deal with depression in 2023. That's crazy to say, knowing that it kind of started around like 2012 for me, 2013, to say it's like 10 years later almost, and I still deal with this. But I know that slowly but surely I'm going to get out of it. My mindset has definitely changed on how I view the depression that I deal with. I just really have to tell myself those times that, like, I really don't want to do nothing, or I'm just like, it's not worth it, that it is worth it. One minor setback or one bad day is just preparing me for something bigger and better. And I'm feeling this way, but how long do I want to feel this way? Why do I feel this way? Is there anything that I can possibly do to stop feeling this way? As well as I still do deal with suicide and the suicidal thoughts. I'm pretty sure almost every human being does, because it's one of those things. The world is getting harder, and being in this generation and everything that's going on in this world, this country that I live in, it's kind of harder not to fall into that depression. And even with that, the numbers on suicide have been rising drastically since the 90s. That's why it's something that people are trying to become more aware of, because we're losing a lot of people that are valuable, and a lot of people who can do things on this earth to change it, to progress it. And I'm one of those people that if I would have let suicide beat me, I wouldn't be here right now, and I wouldn't be here further in this universe to kind of help people who don't have that inner voice, or help people who don't have anywhere to get advice from, or know anybody personally that's dealt with depression. I've dealt with it, and I know it's not easy, and nobody should invalidate your feelings on depression, because it's something that almost everybody deals with at one point in their life. What I kind of started doing to work on my depression was journaling, for sure, kind of writing out my thoughts, how I felt, how I wanted to feel that day, and what I wanted to change for that day, how I wanted my day to go. And I kind of just started doing that. I read more into poetry and started changing the music that I listened to. I also started listening to music that had substance to it, because a lot of the music that I was listening to was just like music that kept me pretty sad, music that could just like, sad music. And that's another one of the things that people that deal with depression kind of get wrong, is we listen to music that puts us even further in our feelings and make us not want to be here, when if you kind of put yourself in the space where you're listening to things or even empowering speeches or anything that makes you just want to do something different or just channel your depression or your suicidal thoughts or anything that brings you to that point. Channeling my thoughts in the way I was feeling when I had nowhere to go was definitely talking to myself in the mirror and crying. A lot of people are scared to cry and it's a shameful thing, but no, when you're doing it to yourself, it kind of relieves a lot of that energy that's built up inside, and it can really just set you down, help you take a nap and wake back up and just kind of review everything. Just start working on that, talking to yourself in the mirror, just a whole bunch of affirmations telling yourself, I'm not going to feel this way today. I'm going to have a great day. I'm not going to let anything affect how I'm feeling. I definitely had to get out of the idea of societal standards, because societal standards definitely play into suicide too, because a lot of people feel like, oh, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, I'm not where they're at, oh, you know, you see this, I'm this age and I haven't gotten here, and it kind of helps to the fact that you feel like a failure as well, but that's never the idea necessarily. You're in the right place at the right time, always and forever, remember that. So there is no wrong way, there's no bad thing that you're doing, it's just something that happens to people, and unfortunately you were one of those people that it affected. But you don't have to be one of those people that it continues to affect to where it beats your life, because if you let it beat you, then a lot of people lose out on an amazing person, as well as a lot of people miss out on somebody in their life that could have contributed and got past this and definitely spreaded the message in another way, shape, or form. Last thing I'd say is definitely getting uncomfortable. If you find comfort in your sadness and comfort in depression and comfort in anxiety, comfort in everything that's overcoming you as an individual, then you'll forever feel this way. But if you learn to get uncomfortable and try to change the way you feel or try to do something different that day or the next day, you never know. It definitely might contribute to something or the success or anything that can definitely change how you start viewing the world, change how you start viewing yourself. My message to everybody watching would definitely be, you are not alone. There's hundreds of thousands of people who deal with suicidal thoughts every single day, every single hour, every single minute. It's nothing to feel ashamed of. It's nothing to feel like you don't have anybody to go to. There's so many resources. There's numbers you can call. There's people you can text. If you need to, you can reach me in my DM. If you want to reach me on TikTok or anything, I'm always going to be that gateway. And I definitely hope this video can kind of give you some ideas on how to handle your depression and kind of understand that you're not alone. Like I said, I dealt with it. I know a lot of people that I deal with in my day-to-day life that deal with it as well. It's not something that is uncommon. It's very common. And just try to keep your head up. At the end of the day, you are loved by somebody, whether it be a friend, a family member, a relationship, a partner, an animal. The universe loves you. God loves you. There's somebody out there that loves you and somebody out there that's pushing for you. But if you keep letting yourself fall back and you keep holding yourself to that idea that you're going to be beat by the world, it will beat you down. So just try to have a better mindset on things. That's it for this video, lovers. And remember, the universe sent you here for a reason, so I definitely hope you are able to gain some knowledge or definitely get some advice or just come to a comfort zone or just support me. So I will see you guys in the next video.
Thank you.